This is Dumbed Down Life number 122.
I hear
Good evening, Lance.
Good evening, Darren. How are you?
I'm good. So have you turned your phone off this evening?
Yes, I have, yes.
Are you sure?
Absolutely positive.
Mobile phones have been in the news for some, must have been a slow news day. But there was a story in the news last week, I think it was, about a woman who, her mobile phone, she was talking on a mobile phone when she came up to the desk at some supermarket. And the woman at the desk wouldn't serve her until she'd hung her phone up.
Yes.
And the woman at the desk sort of implied, whether she actually said it or not, that it was company policy not to serve people while they're on the phones. It turns out that it wasn't the case, and the supermarket chain is apologising profusely to the woman for the bad behaviour of the woman working on the till. But it kind of led me to sort of look at and think about more the way that the mobile phone is being used.
In what way?
In every way. Generally now, if you look at a large group of people, you'll see half of them are not talking to each other. They're sat there on Facebook or on Angry Birds or generally checking something else rather than being part of the group.
Being sociable to everybody but the people they're in the room with.
Exactly. Again, there was another article from my favourite website showing how when the Pope died, the sombre scene of the Vatican, and this was, I'm not sure of the dates, but I think it was then 4 years later when the next one was inaugurated, that all you could see was a sea of LCDs where people were holding the cameras above their heads to take pictures of the new Pope. And it's interesting because I asked you last time when we were talking about your mountain climb about whether you'd had your phone in your pocket to track your route. And I don't think that you're quite as tied into the phone and technology as you'd like to let on.
No, I don't think I am. No, to me, the phone is a phone. And text messaging, yes. Phones, yes. But I don't tend to spend. I guess I use my phone mostly for listening to podcasts. If you're looking at it on a sheer minutes, hours point of view, I've probably got most of my time is spent with earphones in, listening to podcasts. But as far as using it to track where I'm going, using it as a sat nav, using it as I don't tend to go on Facebook or anything much on the phone itself. It's pretty much a phone. Now,
the sat nav side of things, I take it that's really because most of your travelling is around roads that you know, isn't it? When you went to Wales the other week, did you use it to get there, or you're not driving?
Didn't use mine. I wasn't driving, which is something I shall talk about in a while.
Ooh.
But the Jay drove and he did use his phone as a sat nav. Yes.
Yeah. So, but it's
to be fair, I did use my phone as a sat nav that time I rode down to see you.
Yep.
I did use it then, but that's because I do have a sat nav in the car, but at the time I was using my motorbike, and I didn't have a mount or any waterproof protection for the sat nav itself. And the phone had Bluetooth connection and everything, which made it easy for me to have it in my pocket and still have the instructions in my ear.
Yep. Even though you had the helmet on. So,
even though I have my helmet on, yeah.
Yeah. No, I use mine a lot for email, for Facebook, for even for reading, because if I've not got my Kindle with me, it'll synchronise the pages onto whatever mobile app.
To be fair, I tend to have my iPad with me most of the time, so if I want to read, I use the larger screen.
Do you not find that clumsy?
What? Carry around?
Because that's the full iPad. That's not a mini.
No, it's a full iPad. Not really, no, because I've got a messenger bag that I carry with me pretty much all the time, so I don't really find it much of an inconvenience.
Yeah. So what were you going to say about driving?
Well, basically that I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I think the last time we spoke, I was either waiting for or just taken delivery of the motorbike from hell that I'd been waiting for a month or more. Is that
Yeah.
right?
We touched on sort of travels in the last recording last week, but the was it 119? You just got the bike after they'd faffed around and
Yeah. Well, I had that bike for a while, probably about 6 months, and me and the guy that I house share with, we were moving to Kettering from Wellingborough. And the day before we moved, my bike got stolen.
Was it the day before you moved?
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, because you had a bike stolen before that?
When you was down, the week after I got there, yeah. So the week after I moved into that house in Wellingborough, my scooter got stolen.
Yeah.
And the day before I moved out of that house in Wellingborough, my 125 got stolen.
Right.
So I got myself another bike, which essentially was the same bike as what I'd already had. It was a different model, slightly different shape, but mechanically, engine-wise, same manufacturer. It's essentially the same bike on a different frame. And I had that for probably about 3 or 4 months, I think. And then I got into a motorcycle accident. I was riding over to Earthlingborough for a scout leaders meeting when some guy just pulled out of a side road. You know, the classic thing. The driver wasn't looking, didn't see me coming. In fact, apparently there's an acronym for it, SMIDSy. Sorry, mate, I didn't see you.
Yep.
And he looked both ways, didn't look again, didn't see me, just pulled out. I see him do it. I hit the brakes, tried to go around the back of him, and at the last moment he saw me, and he did the worst thing possible, and he stopped.
Yep.
If he'd have carried on, I'd have missed him.
Yep.
But he stopped, so he's now blocking my
paths
lane.
Of exit. Yep.
I can't go to the other side. I'm already turning to go around the back of him, but I couldn't go the other way, any other side of him, because there's cars coming the other way. So I had no other choice but to smack into the back of his car.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was a little Ford Focus, I think it was, which had no boot, or it wasn't an estate, because if he had have done, I possibly wouldn't have been sitting here talking to you right now.
Yeah.
And literally just flew around the back of the car, landed on the road, rolled a few times, but the bike was written off.
Yeah.
So, I was without a bike, but fortunately, I had my dad's car, or my dad had a car. Now, my dad was taken ill at around that time. He was in hospital at the time. And I ended up using his car while he was ill to get myself around. And then Dad, unfortunately, died. And so by default, I kind of inherited his car, which has now got a bit of a fault on it.
Yeah.
So that's also off the road. So currently, I am vehicle-less.
And loving it.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I was going to talk to you because you spent quite a period of time without any form of transport, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, the thing for me was the car was sat on the road, not being used.
Yeah.
It wasn't economical for me to keep it there with no regular use. And I was taking I was actually working from home, so I didn't need any vehicle or transport. And the odd time when I did go into London, I was able to walk down to the station and take the train into work.
Which is exactly how I'm getting to work.
Yeah.
2 miles walk to get to work with a 10-minute train journey in the middle.
Yeah. And well, once I moved down to here, when I first moved down to here, I was actually living 15 minutes walk from work. So I would do shopping in the local co-op rather than any sort of big, massive shop. You just do sort of a couple of days worth of groceries every other day, and you just don't need it. And
so what's the the most surprising thing you found about not relying on a car, just having your legs to get yourself around?
Um, I think when you're walking, you tend to realise how many other people could be walking.
Yes.
What I found was that when I was living 15 minutes walk from work, there were other people in my same office who drove to work, despite being 2 or 3 roads along from where I lived. Sometimes 2 or 3 roads closer.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and it wasn't necessarily that they hadn't got reasons for, oh yeah, well I need to go via here and pick up this and do that. It was always sort of
The default choice.
and quite often they were getting to work after me, especially during the winter, because it would take them 5-10 minutes to defrost the car, and in 5-10 minutes I'm almost at work.
Yep.
And that kind of thing was really strange.
And you sort of don't get cold because when you're walking, you warm yourself up, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So you don't get warm. You don't get cold because you warm yourself up, and it is very quickly an exercise that you don't really think about the fact that you're doing it.
No.
You're just doing that walk, and it is doing you some good, without having to sort of put effort into it.
Yeah, you're not, oh Christ, I've got to spend an hour in the gym or whatever.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I've discovered that I really enjoy about it. It's the enforced downtime.
Yes.
When you're in your car, you basically leave it until the last moment to leave your house. You get in your car, you drive to work, you get out of the car, you're into the office, you do your day's work, you get back in your car, you drive home, you get stressed out with the traffic, you get home, and there's no sort of pause.
Yeah.
Yet when you're having to walk, or specifically having to wait for a train, you are just having to wait, and it kind of slows you down. And today I had a really, really stressful day at work. I spent most of my afternoon doing something that isn't my job, but I happen to know a little bit about it.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah. And it was really stressful because my job takes 1.5 people to do it, and my half a person is traveling around Europe at the moment on a break for 5 weeks. So I'm kind of pushed to my limits already as far as workload goes. So to not actually do my job for the whole afternoon really was beginning to stress me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But walking out at 4:30, walking the mile to the train station, I missed my train that I was waiting for, which I quite often do because it's real sort of touch and go whether I can get there on time. Yeah. I had to wait for an extra half an hour before I caught my train, and then there was another mile walk home, by which time, once I walked through the door, I was completely de-stressed. I'd let go of the day. Yeah. Which, had I been in a car, I'd have walked out of the office all stressed out, got in a car, sat in the rush hour traffic through town, possibly getting even more stressed, and I'd still been in the same state once I got through my front door.
And it does depend, because I've still had stressful journeys to work. Where I'm living now, there's a 2-mile walk to the station, 2 stops on the train, and then the station is actually sort of within view of my window of the office at the other end, so it's that close.
Yeah.
But I have had times, especially on a Monday, where I've walked down to the station, joined the queue for the tickets, missed the train that I'd normally get, fair enough, got to the ticket barrier, bought my ticket, gone to the platform, found the platform was full. Actually, there's some of the faces that I recognised from the earlier train that are still stood on the platform. And then you look up at the sign says the train's still coming. You then get the announcement that says the train's been cancelled. And so you go back to the foyer to find out what's going on. You read blank screens that have got no... And you're now aware that the fact that even though you got there with 2, maybe 3 trains spare that could have got you into work on time, you're now going to be late.
Yeah.
And nobody on the platform knows what's going on. You look on your phone, and your phone gives you more information than most of the staff seem to know.
Yeah.
And, okay, sod it, and you start to walk. And it's then a 6-mile walk rather than just a 2 to the station. And yeah, by the time you get into the office then, you are a little bit on edge.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that that's never actually happened to me. One thing I do notice though, when I get off my train in Wellingborough, the amount of people that are running down the stairs from the bridge over the platform, and I always seem to leave it until, in much the same way as you would in the car, the very last moment. They know what minute the train arrives, and it's generally fairly spot on.
There's that.
And it's like, why? Just give yourself 5 more minutes.
Yeah, there's that. But the other thing is, I leave here somewhere between 7 and past.
Right.
No particular waiting until the clock strikes past and then going, knowing that it's going to. I'll leave sometime between 7 and past. And sometimes I'll walk at a leisurely pace, and sometimes I'll get there in quite a good speed.
Yeah.
It really depends. You never know when you leave the door what sort of speed you're in the mood for. It depends whether there's somebody else to keep pace with, or whether the music you're listening to is fast, and that sort of thing. Yeah. So sometimes I've got to the platform just as the doors are closing.
Yeah.
Now, you're tempted there when you can see the train on the other side of the platform. You're tempted to run just to get that one, but like you said, it's just not worth the risk of falling flat on your face coming down the stairs.
You're listening to Dumbed Down Life.
I've very recently gotten into photography. I can't say getting back into, because I've never really had a decent camera before.
No, but you've always been interested in it.
Interested in it, and got some lucky shots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just got a Canon 700D.
Ooh, very nice.
It is lovely. And the nice thing about it is it's a SLR. So you can look, and what you see is what you get. Much better than the digital cameras where you're looking at the monitor on the back and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's a local hill that actually looks out over Guildford on one side and looks out over sort of north of Surrey, heading towards London on the other side. And I'm hoping to take some pictures. I don't know why, but I seem to have this fixation of taking pictures of London from afar. When I was living in southeast London, I'd like to go up to the top of the local hill there and take pictures of the Docklands and as it became Canary Wharf. And now that I'm sort of west of London, right on the very skyline, you can see the Shard, the Gherkin, Canary Wharf, and you can make them out with the naked eye, but I've yet to be able to do anything with the cameras. The cameras can't seem to pick it out yet. Because
they're not good enough. The CCD isn't good enough, is that? Yeah.
Well, the optics haven't been good enough yet. So you zoom in. Well, my lens on my standard camera is just a 55mm, which is no zoom at all, really.
No.
But when you blow the image up, you can make out sort of the pixel difference. But because it's relying purely on digital, you lose any kind of quality, and it's literally sort of blocks on the horizon.
Yeah. That pixel sitting slightly higher than that one is the Shard, yeah.
That sort of thing. And also, because it's relying on electronics, that the contrast between the sky and the buildings is very slight. So you have to know what you're looking at. And I was quite surprised, actually, that looking at it with the naked eye, you can clearly see that it's the Shard, despite the fact that it's no more than a fawn sticking out on the horizon. But you just couldn't get that with any of the lenses that I've got on the standard camera. So I've borrowed a 300mm lens from somebody at work, and you just got that home tonight. So tomorrow night I'll be going up to this overview and trying to take some pictures again.
Have you got a tripod?
I do, yes.
Good.
Got a tripod, and I've also got a wireless remote, but what I'll probably use
really?
Timer. Is yours a Canon as well?
It is, yeah.
The wireless remote that I got from Japan, and it costs something like £3.50.
Oh, right.
So it's...
You'll have to send me a link to it, or was it off YouTube or something?
No, this was
eBay or something.
It was eBay, but it was an eBay link
eBay store sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, if it doesn't turn up or it's useless, then it's £3.50.
Yeah.
No, it's quite good. It is quite good.
And with that, it's time to wrap up another show. So until next time, ta-ra.
Ta-ra.